Doomsday hoarding+God level fortress+decisive killing+Notre Dame+Exquisite selfishness+Micro harem. The apocalypse of his past life came, and Zhou Xun was tricked out of his room by his stepsister who had a romantic mind. He fell into a trap and was treated as food by others. After death, he was reborn and returned to the month before the end of the world, awakening the divine-level ice sculpture master system. Any ice sculpture other than a living body that is stained with his blood will transform into a physical object after a period of time. Zhou Xun carved a batch of golden bricks in exchange for a large amount of funds to start hoarding and infrastructure construction. Those who killed him in his past life, Zhou Xun remembered in his heart, and he would definitely retaliate fiercely. Gatling emitting blue flames, Dongfeng Express, nuclear power plant, Iron Man, Qin Tianzhu, Little Star, they were all carved by Zhou Xun one by one. He is the god of the frozen apocalypse. Chapter 1. Rebirth before the end. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Pain. It's really painful. Zhou Xun never expected that Ling Qi's torture would happen to him. At this moment, he is tied to a wooden stake. The neighbors, friends, and even his distant relatives who have been helped by him before. He was frantically cutting off pieces of meat from him, stuffing them into his mouth, swallowing them, and then cutting again. They have no human nature in their eyes, only a thirst for food. Without any regard, this is a living person in front of me. Or the benefactor who has helped them many times and even saved their lives. Give me a good time, please. Please. Pop. Zhou Xun got a punch on the chin, then his tongue was pulled out and cut in half with a knife. On his deathbed, Zhou Xun vaguely saw his heart still beating. He was held by his stepsister Lu Qian and then handed it to a man next to her. It's this woman with a snake and scorpion heart who tricked Zhou Xun here half an hour ago. It is said that everyone specially prepared a sumptuous meal and wanted to thank him for his help. Unexpectedly, this is a scam that invites you to die. That sumptuous meal is himself. The man's name is Zhang Fan, and he is a civil servant in the Xingfu Community Street. Full-time exam preparation for 5 years, all supported by my girlfriend Lu Yao, just landed this year. With the first sword ashore, he first struck his crush and immediately abandoned Lu Yao. He turned around and hooked up with the younger Lu Qian. And Lu Qian is exactly Lu Yao's cousin. It was my idea that deceived him, and this heart belongs to me. Darling, hurry up and eat while it's hot. You've been hungry for several days, I feel so sorry. Zhou Xun stared fixedly at Lu Qian, his teeth full of teeth being bitten and tears streaming out from the corners of his eyes. He really didn't expect that the love-brained stepsister, for this little white face, surprisingly, he would do such a malicious thing to himself. In vain, he worked diligently to earn money for her education over the years. If he could start over, he would choose he will never have any more Madonna's heart, he just wants to live for himself. People are not for themselves, heaven and earth will perish. Zhou Xun died of exhaustion, but his eyes were wide open and he couldn't close his eyes. However, in the next moment, he suddenly opened his eyes and sat up from a marching bed. Teeth are still tightly biting, and there are still remnants of a beating heart in front of me. Zhou Xun finally relaxed his bite muscles. Then he gasped for breath and was covered in sweat all over his body. What's going on? Didn't I be eaten raw by those animals? After swallowing several times, Zhou Xun dared to carefully look around. Afraid of a bright knife appearing and then cutting off the flesh from oneself. The appropriate temperature in the air slowly eased his tense nerves. This place is not unfamiliar to him, it is the dormitory where he worked before the end of the world. Have I been reborn before the end of time? Zhou Xun hurriedly searched for his phone everywhere and finally found it under his pillow. The time displayed above is January 31st, 2080 at 6:30 a.m. It's true. I'm back a month before the end of the world. Zhou Xun remembers very clearly, March 1st, 2080. The blue star was affected by a comet explosion, deviating from its original orbit and further away from the sun. The global temperature plummeted, and seawater was pumped up to hundreds of thousands of meters, then turned into blizzards and fell. For a whole month, the 20-story tall building was buried in snow, leaving only 7 or 8 floors above. Various organisms have gone extinct on a large scale, leaving less than 100 million humans struggling to survive. Zhou Xun stood up and swallowed all the remaining food on the table. This calmed the hungry nerves. After burping heavily, Zhou Xun lifted his head and looked at the night sky through the window. A huge comet is appearing with its tail trailing, but it won't be long before it explodes, and then the end will come. Zhou Xun stared blankly, unsure of what he was thinking, but his gaze gradually became resolute. Lu Qian, you are really my good sister. And those guys, I remember them all very clearly. In this life, I must live well and never show kindness to those beasts again. Moreover, I also want them to pay for their blood debts. If this revenge is not avenged, I swear not to be human. Zhou Xun's clenched fist hit the bed fiercely, and his index finger was scratched by the carving knife pressed under the bed. The pain instantly woke him up. The matter of revenge can be discussed later. Zhou Xun's first priority now is how to survive well in the apocalypse 1 month later. Zhou Xun's family was very poor, his mother passed away early, and his father remarried. My stepmother brought a younger sister over, and it was Lu Qian. 3 years ago, 2 people had a car accident while driving out, and both died. And because my father drove under the influence of alcohol, I did not receive any compensation. From then on, Zhou Xun and his stepsister Lu Qian were left to rely on each other in this family. He is currently working as an ice sculptor during the day at an ice and snow world amusement park in Kitahama City. At night, I work as a security guard in the Happy Garden Villa community. A month adds up to 10,000 yuan, but half of it needs to be given to Lu Qian as tuition and living expenses for her studies. Zhou Xun did his utmost to fulfill his responsibilities towards this nominal sister and never let her suffer any hardship. But the thought of the scene just now made Zhou Xun's heart ache. But Zhou Xun understood that now was not the time for revenge. Before the end of the world, supplies were extremely scarce worldwide. Only for one person to survive, the materials needed are massive. But after experiencing his past life, Zhou Xun now not only wants to live. I still want to live a decent and comfortable life. He wants everything, whether it's food, entertainment, or venting his biological instincts. Otherwise, over time, even if one doesn't die, they will go crazy. And, weapons and equipment must also be more beneficial. Only in this way can he protect his own safety and complete the revenge plan. Oh, where did you get a lot of money from? Are you going to rob, steal, or take out online loans? Zhou Xun rejected it one by one. If we go ahead and do this now, he will die faster. Moreover, he doesn't have anything to mortgage, and spending tens of thousands of yuan on online loans is of no use. He suddenly felt a bit desperate, but just then. The index finger scratched by the carving knife suddenly burst out with a golden light. Then a voice rang out from his mind. Ding, congratulations to the host for awakening to a divine-level ice sculpture master. The ice sculpture you have carved will become a physical object, except for living beings. Note. When ice sculpture is transformed into a physical object, there will be a buffering time, which is related to the volume and composition of the object. Sleeping slot. System. You came so timely. Zhou Xun was filled with joy, dancing and dancing. The functionality of this system is really amazing. With it, you can stock up on any supplies and carve one as needed. Anyway, after the end of the world, everything will be lacking except for ice cubes. Now, Zhou Xun urgently wants to know how long this buffer time is. He immediately rushed to the ice storage room of the amusement park and began to carve freely. In no time, a pile of ice sculptures appeared beside him. There is a plate of lamb dumplings, a pure wooden comb, and a frozen AK-47. There is a countdown on those ice sculptures. Lamb dumplings take 24 hours, while a pure wooden comb becomes real in 10 minutes. But AK-47 will take a full 30 days to materialize. At present, pure goods have the shortest time to materialize, and the larger and more refined the item, the longer it takes. It seems that we still need to prepare supplies and shelters in advance to be safe. However, that's enough. I'll carve out some golden bricks and sell them, then I'll have money to do things. Zhou Xun was playing with his comb, and a crazy idea came to his mind. He is currently inspecting the gates of this soon-to-be-closed ice and snow amusement park. This ice and snow amusement park covers an area of over 20 acres and has a ready-made ice sculpture castle. If he buys this amusement park and builds an ice sculpture bunker, with thick ice walls several tens of meters high on the periphery. After being materialized, it will become a paradise inside. Of course, nuclear power plants, various high-precision weapons, as well as breeding and planting areas, all need to be fully equipped. Although achieving these requires a huge amount of ice sculpture and a lot of time, after the end of the world, the most essential thing is time. Zhou Xun immediately took action and quickly compared the high-definition images of the golden bricks facing Zhou Taixing. 15 ice bricks weighing 1 kilogram were carved out. In just 30 minutes, these ice bricks turned into real gold bricks. And they are all 100% pure gold. Zhou searched for a broken bedsheet and packed these golden bricks together. Head straight for the jewelry, gold, and precious items recycling street. Chapter 2. Are you really hungry? You can eat anything. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. That street is across from the Happiness Garden Community. Happiness Garden Community is a famous villa area in Beibin City, inhabited by wealthy individuals, social elites, and high-ranking officials. Passing by a square, several couples huddled together and looked up at the night sky, their faces full of surprised expressions. Many parents are still making wishes on the comet with their children. Zhou Xun knew that this comet was not an astronomical wonder. In another month, it will explode, causing the blue star to enter its apocalypse. At the destination, he carried his package and walked quickly towards the largest gold recycling store. The price of gold recycling here is severely undervalued, at least 50 yuan per gram lower than in the market. But no matter how you come from, you can swallow any amount. The price is lower, but Zhou Xun doesn't care at all. As long as it can be exchanged for money, the loss point will be the loss point. Anyway, these are all ice cubes, so don't worry. And it's almost the end of the world, no matter how much money you have, you won't be able to buy even a bucket of instant noodles. After entering the store, Zhou Xun went straight to the theme. Boss, I want to sell some gold. I wonder if you can eat it here. The owner of the gold shop first looked up at Zhou Xun, and a hint of disdain flashed in his eyes. I waved my hand and continued to take a sip of tea. You can go ask elsewhere, it's too troublesome to recycle gold-plated items. Bang dang. As soon as the boss finished speaking, Zhou Xun had already pulled out a golden brick and placed it in front of him. Hiss. The boss didn't know if he had scalded his mouth with tea or if he had an ulcer in his mouth. Wearing glasses, he picked up the golden brick with both hands and carefully observed it. Sorry, buddy. It's my brother. I took a glance. Your golden brick has a good quality, it looks like red gold. But as far as I know, Zhou Taixing's golden bricks are not made of pure gold, are they? Gold is good gold, but I don't know if it's serious or not, but it doesn't matter. 500 per gram, how much do you have? I'll take it all. Zhou Xun calculated a little and brought 15 gold bricks weighing 1 kilogram. If 1 gram is 500, that would be 15 million. Although he was blacklisted by the boss for over 100 yuan per gram, he should have earned this money. Not earning, Zhou Xun felt a bit uncomfortable in his heart instead. Okay. Then we'll stick to the price you said, but I need cash and I need it now. Zhou Xun patted his bank card on the table and then opened the broken bedsheet. The 15 golden bricks really shook the boss. This is just a part, if you still want to accept it, feel free to contact me. The fat face of the owner of the gold shop was trembling, and his small tongue was constantly swirling in his mouth. If he collects all these gold bricks, he can earn over 3 million yuan by reselling them. If we melt the gold and turn it into jewelry, we can at least earn an additional 3 million. This deal is completed and we don't even need to open this year. But he was still very cautious. After all, he took out so much gold all at once, and there were not many people in the entire Beibin city. Brother, don't blame me for being curious. I'll just ask, you don't need to answer. Are you from the opposite community? Zhou Xun nodded and pulled out the security badge from inside his clothes to show him. If that's the case, then I have to be a good official. You can sit here for a while and drink tea, and I'll go raise money for you now, at most for half an hour. After finishing speaking, the boss picked up his bank card and rushed out of the store, disappearing without a trace. After only about 10 minutes, the boss returned and handed the card to Zhou Xun. Brother, have you received the transfer message? Not a penny is missing. Zhou Xun nodded and raised a golden picio that he had been playing with. It's not excessive to give me this little thing, is it? It's not excessive, it's not excessive. You're on your way, welcome to roar again next time. The boss smiled and sent out several tens of meters. With money, Zhou Xun's confidence became full. Quickly walking towards the sales office of the happiness community, he remembered that there were still 2 slightly remote villas in the community that had not been sold. The villa here costs around 5 million yuan, which Zhou Xun couldn't even imagine in the past. However, it's different now. Zhou Xun not only needs to buy, but also needs to get the full payment. Arriving at the sales office, there were not many people here, only a sales girl lying on the table drowsy. Zhou Xun woke her up, didn't even discuss the price, and directly took the most remote set with full payment. After some thought, Zhou Xun felt that the space in a villa was limited, so he decided to buy the one next to him. 2 home purchase agreements were held in Zhou Xun's arms, and he tore them up as soon as he left. Keeping these things was of no use at all. Just as Zhou Xun was about to leave the sales office, a man and a woman entered the door again. Women have exquisite makeup and their winter attire is also very revealing. The jewelry on the body and the bag on the back are all luxury brands. The man is bald, around 50 years old, with a wide mask on his face and sunglasses on. This woman Zhou Xun knew, named Yiming, was originally Zhou Xun's colleague. I used to be a tour guide in the amusement park, but later I met a big shot and became a mistress. Moved into the villa of a big shot and became a canary. Of course, she was also among the people who ate his meat that day. As for this man, Zhou Xun didn't know him, but he could also imagine with his toes that he was the big shot. I look like a high-ranking official in his attire, but I don't know which one in Beibin City it is. Yiming also saw Zhou Xun at a glance, with a hint of disgust in her eyes. This poor Jiaoxi even wanted to chase her at the amusement park and didn't pee to take care of herself. He's the only one who deserves it. However, Yiming does not refuse the licking dog he posted. With just a few tricks, Zhou Xun was completely mesmerized. In just 1 week, Zhou Xun spent all her savings on her. After seeing that he really didn't have much oil to extract, he kicked him with 1 kick. Yo, isn't this General Zhou's army? Why don't you take a good look at the entrance of the community and come here for what? Can't you still sell a house part-time? Good guy, I have to work 3 jobs. This year's model worker should be awarded to you. The bald old man hugged Yiming and pointed at Zhou Xun, asking, why, do you know each other? Yiming calmly changed the topic and said, he is a security guard in this community and also an ice sculptor at the amusement park. When I was there before, he insisted on chasing me, but he got annoyed. Alright, "Godfather, forget about him, let's hurry and take a look at the house. We'll have a big meal later to celebrate my birthday." After speaking, Yiming threw herself into the arms of the old man, not only throwing coquettishness, but also asking for a kiss. Yiming looked very engaged, and when they parted ways, their saliva dribbled. Zhou Xun couldn't help but sneer in his heart and watched them perform quietly. Yiming, a woman who worships money, can sacrifice anything for the sake of money. It seems that this woman is really hungry and can eat anything. But thinking about the days when he used to be a licking dog for Yiming, Zhou Xun was really angry. Spending so much money, I didn't even hold my hand in the end. I also thought of the scene after the end of the world, where this woman lay on her body and tore at her own flesh. Zhou Xun's gaze instantly turned cold. Staring closely at Yiming's slender neck, I wished I could go up and bite her off now. Yiming also felt Zhou Xun's fiery gaze. Watching him staring at his chest non-stop, I thought he still couldn't forget himself. Canary's days are really boring. Although she has a lot of money, she feels extremely irritable when facing this old man every day. It takes less than 3 seconds each time to finish, making her feel uncomfortable. If it weren't for this old man agreeing to buy her a villa, she wouldn't want to be it anymore. Although Zhou Xun is also good-looking and has a strong physique, he has fatal flaws. That's just no money. A man without money is not as good as a dog, so Yiming looks down on Zhou Xun from the bottom of her heart. So she would rather spend money to find a young college student to satisfy herself than let someone like Zhou Xun touch her. However, when there is nothing to do, teasing the puppy is also a pleasure. Yiming lifted her hair and deliberately revealed a touch of fragrant shoulder. She lazily lay in the arms of the old man and blinked at Zhou Xun, saying, "Godfather, why don't we take care of him? Sign the contract for this villa from him so that he can get some commission. This can also be considered as your targeted poverty alleviation, isn't it?" The bald old man laughed heartily and pressed his hands behind Yiming, giving him a fierce twist. "Your little mouth is really a good thing. Then we'll do as you say, but at night, you have to be obedient." "Godfather, you're bad." Yiming is taller than this bald man, but this doesn't prevent him from acting coquettish like a little bird. It has to be said that this is called professionalism. Zhou Xun withdrew his gaze and his gaze became gentle. Now is not the time to kill this woman, after all, Blade Man is still breaking the law. He arched his hand at Yiming and said, "Thank you for your kindness, beautiful woman. However, you're late. The villa has already been sold out. I don't think poverty alleviation is enough. Keeping that money to buy some supplements and helping your godfather with the birds is the right thing to do." Chapter 3. My ideological consciousness is higher than your 8 generations. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yiming gave Zhou Xun a fierce glare and gave him a scolding. "Poor Jiaoxi, roll the calf for the old lady. A villa here costs over 5 million yuan, but it's not just about buying it. Don't think I don't know what you're up to. Isn't it just that I'm not happy with you? To be honest, just a poor bee like you, I can't even turn to you." The bald old man also put on an old and imposing demeanor. With one hand on the back and one finger pointing towards Zhou Xun, he scolded. "You little comrade, why are you so narrow-minded? Although Mingming and I have a significant age difference, we are truly in love. Don't speak recklessly if you don't understand. Otherwise, you'll have to be careful. Yes, you can do whatever you like. If you don't believe it, you can ask yourself." Zhou Xun originally wanted to leave, but now he doesn't plan to leave. This old man actually wanted to threaten himself, but instead he wanted to see who this guy was. Yiming over there inquired with the sales lady and received accurate information. The remaining 2 villas have indeed been sold, and the ones that were just sold are still fully paid. The person who bought the villa was none other than Zhou Xun, who had just been scolded by her for being poor. How could this be possible? Although those two villas are located in a different location and have a discounted price, buying them in full would require at least 8 million yuan. Where did Zhou Xun get so much money? Is he a hidden second-generation wealthy person? Yi Ming immediately rejected this idea, as she had previously secretly inquired about Zhou Xun's family background. There is no father or mother, and there is also a sister who procrastinates. Yi Ming's gaze fell back on Zhou Xun, and now Zhou Xun began to slowly change in her eyes. Although it's unclear where his money came from, one thing is certain. This guy has at least 2 villas. No matter what, we have to get a villa today. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been fooled for nothing. He quickly pounced on the bald old man and threw coquettishness on him. Godfather, the villa has really been sold. He just bought it, what should I do? I really want a set. As long as you buy me this villa, I am willing to do whatever you want me to do. The bald old man couldn't help but tremble when Zhou Xun saw his thighs. When it turned to Zhou Xun, it turned into the tone of an old cadre. Changing one's face is called a silky smoothness. Comrade, respecting the elderly and loving the young is our fine tradition. I'm older than you, how about giving me a set? Besides, as a young person, you must know how to keep a low profile, be down to earth, and use your money on the right path. Tell me about you. If you buy 2 villas, you can't live alone. Isn't this a pure waste of social resources? Your ideological consciousness still needs improvement. Good guy, it's not bad he's a big shot. This PUA script is set one by one. Zhou Xun listened in his ear, as if a demon was whispering. This old Deng is really a double standard, holding power, holding money, and raising a mistress. Instead, it points to Zhou Xun's waste of social resources. He also said that his ideological consciousness needs to be improved. Nima. Laozi's ideological consciousness is higher than your 8 generations of ancestors. Alright, don't say anything, old man. Besides, I'll be ashamed to find a hoe and turn over 3 acres of land. Okay, I'll give you a set. The bald old man nodded and stepped forward to pat Zhou Xun's shoulder. Slightly pulling on his mask, he revealed a face full of grooves inside, whispering in a low voice. You kid is very spiritual. Do you now know who I am? If you have any grievances in the future, feel free to come to me. Give me the contract now, just change the name and save trouble. Zhou Xun recognized who this bald guy was. His name is Gao. Universe. Being an official is not small, anyway, you can always see him on TV. Watching his hand reach out in front of him, Zhou Xun quickly handed it over and held it together. Then I wish us a pleasant transaction. The house costs 8 million yuan. Do you think it's in cash or by transfer? Sigh. Gao Universe exclaimed in confusion. He withdrew his hand and also took off his sunglasses. Pointing at his own face, he said. Comrade, haven't you seen it clearly? Is it me? I'm giving you a chance, you have to seize it. Recently, there is an excellent vacant land in Beibin City that is about to be put into construction. If I can help you connect and build a bridge, please let me know. You can easily take on some small projects and earn more than 8 million. Zhou Xun shook his head like a tambourine. Sorry, Secretary Gao, I did recognize you. But I'm not interested in money, I'm only interested in houses. The house costs 8 million yuan, I can't lose a penny, otherwise I won't sell it. If you really want to buy, feel free to contact me anytime. I have something else to do and I need to take a step first. After Zhou Xun finished speaking, he took a big step out of the sales office, leaving only Yi Ming and Gao Universe looking at each other. Humph, young people nowadays are really disrespectful. The entire Beibin city does not allow anyone who does not sell my face. I'm so angry. Gao Universe covered her chest, feeling short and weak in her legs. He has been indulging too much these days, feeling a bit empty. Godfather, I want it, I don't care, I must have a villa here. Yi Ming's pair of deadly weapons fiercely stimulated the heart of the high universe, activating him again. He feels like he can still handle it. Yi Ming was also infuriated by Zhou Xun. Poor B, who used to be too lazy to even look at it, turned out to be a millionaire and even lived in the villa area she had been dreaming of. How did she feel about this? Anyway, she must also live in the most noble area. The high universe is worn out beyond endurance. I quickly agreed, took out my phone, and called the developer here. After only discussing for a while, the matter was resolved. Alright, little darling. There is also a top-notch villa here that the developer left for themselves. But for the sake of my face, I gave it to you. The decoration is already done and the furniture is complete. You can move in with your bag. Really, that's great, thank you Godfather. Yi Ming cheered happily. Holding High Universe's soy egg, I kissed it hard. The two of them, like Jinlian and Dalong, hugged each other and walked out. Zhou Xun left the sales office and turned back to the entrance of the Happiness Garden community, where the owner of the Ice and Snow amusement park, Lu Jianghai, also lived. Just now, he had already arranged to meet with Lu Jianghai at the security gate to discuss the transfer of the amusement park. At first, Lu Jianghai didn't believe that his employees had the ability to acquire the amusement park. However, upon seeing the screenshot of the balance sent by Zhou Xun, he immediately agreed to meet. Didi. A Mercedes-Benz drove out of the community and as soon as it arrived at the door, the car window was lowered. A man poked his head out and greeted Zhou Xun. Zhou Xun, where are you on duty? If you see my car coming in the future, quickly raise the pole. I just bought it and haven't entered any information yet. Zhou Xun frowned, but he had forgotten about this. The man in the Mercedes-Benz car is his distant relative named Wan Lang. This guy is not a good thing either, a phoenix man who eats soft food hard. His father-in-law is Lu Jianghai, and Wan Lang doesn't know what method he used. Lu Menglin, the eldest daughter of Lu Jianghai, was so obsessed that he refused to marry. From then on, this kid went from being a thug to a wealthy person. But the flower heart remains unchanged, the red flag at home does not fall, and the colorful flag floats outside. And among the people who killed Zhou Xun back then, there was also him. Waiting for someone. Zhou Xun answered coldly, then looked ahead and waited for Lu Jianghai's arrival. Zhou Xun's attitude made Wan Lang very angry. He is now developed, and any relative who sees him will bow and bow, desperately trying to flatter him. And Zhou Xun's current job is still the one he found. In a sense, he is Zhou Xun's boss. After Wan Lang extinguished the car, he opened the door and walked down. He took out a package of the 9-5 Supreme and opened it, handing it to Zhou Xun Adao. Try it, haven't you ever smoked it? I'm a big smoker, I get 3 packs a day. If you have other coughs, this one works. While handing out his cigarette, Wan Lang deliberately turned his wrist and displayed a gold watch he was wearing. Thank you, I don't smoke. If you have anything to do, just go ahead and get busy. The people I'm waiting for will be here soon. Zhou Xun's voice remained calm and somewhat impatient. If it weren't for the security guard in front of him, he would have wanted to immediately put all this pack of cigarettes into Wan Lang's mouth and let him smoke it all at once. Unexpectedly, this actually aroused Wan Lang's curiosity. He wanted to see who this poor relative was waiting for. Does Zhou Xun also want to learn from himself and prepare to be with a wealthy woman? Looking at Zhou Xun's messy appearance, I don't know which wealthy woman could have such a strong taste under her packaging. Wan Lang thought so and then lit a cigarette. Just lazily by Zhou Xun's side, ready to watch his jokes. Chapter 4. Afraid of the hardships that friends may suffer, and also afraid of their friends leading the way. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. No one came out of the community, but there was a little beautiful woman wearing a professional dress running straight towards the two of them on the street. Wang Lang's eyes lit up. Isn't this a flower from the sales office, Lu Yao? He had long wanted to find an opportunity to hook up, so why not seize the opportunity to deliver the door now? I quickly put on a posture that I thought was very handsome, wanting to have a shoulder-to-shoulder kill with her. After walking up to him, Lu Yao made a sharp turn and headed straight for Zhou Xun behind him. Brother Sun, you're walking so fast, it's easy for me to find you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Lu Yao and I am Lu Qian's cousin. I didn't dare to recognize you at the sales office. I just spoke with Cixi on the phone and it was only then that I confirmed it was you. Thank you for buying the house and giving me a large commission. Let me treat you to a meal tonight. My boyfriend recently landed, let's celebrate together. Zhou Xun looked at the girl in front of him, frowning, and his memory began to flow. Lu Qian did have such a cousin working in Beibin City, but the two had never met in the previous life. She didn't appear until the end of the world, and her boyfriend was Zhang Fan, Zhou Xun's second enemy. In his previous life, Zhang Fan relied on Lu Yao to work full-time and prepared for exams at home. One exam lasts for 5 years, and Lu Yao's confession lasts for 5 years without any complaints. After Zhang Fan landed as a civil servant in Xingfu Street, he turned around and kicked Lu Qian, and then hooked up with his good sister. Now it seems that this dog couple has been together for a long time, just keeping it a secret from Lu Yao. Just as he was thinking about it, Zhou Xun's phone rang and he walked aside to answer the phone. And Wang Lang took the opportunity to approach and started a conversation with Lu Yao. You are Lu Qian's cousin, so we are all relatives. My name is Wang Lang, and I'm Zhou Xun's childhood friend. According to generations, Lu Qian needs to call me cousin. I'm a little older than you, let's also call you cousin. Listen to what you mean, Zhou Xun bought a house. It's impossible, how could he have the money to buy a house? Also, I'll arrange dinner tonight. I happen to know of a newly opened restaurant, which is very upscale. Lu Yao blinked her big eyes and smiled, revealing 2 tiger teeth. Hello cousin, he said happily, if you want to come, you can come together, but I must treat you today. Brother Sun bought 2 villas from me, and my commission is almost 100,000 yuan. Villa. Where's the villa? Is it here? Wang Langshan pointed to the happy home behind him. After seeing Lu Yao nod, he felt somewhat incredulous. After talking about Zhou Xun, he asked directly. Did you really buy 2 villas, kid? Yes, only the 2 sets that haven't been sold in our community. Zhou Xun's tone was calm, neither spoiling nor surprised. It's impossible. You're so poor that you can't afford it. How can you afford it? Stop causing trouble for Zhou Xun. Say, is this the person you paid to hire to accompany you in acting? Wang Lang stared into Zhou Xun's eyes, his face full of hope, hoping that Zhou Xun would admit his statement. Zhou Xun didn't even want to see his face. Because he always tries to suppress his impulse to beat him up. I had to cooperate with him and quickly send him away. Ah, yes, I paid for it. I want to install a bigger one, okay. Wang Lang, if you have something to do, go get busy. If you have nothing to do, find something to do. Don't hinder me from pretending here, okay. Wang Lang received a satisfactory answer and was in a good mood, but he had to make a few sarcastic remarks about Zhou Xun. Che, the poorer the person, the more they love to pretend. Okay, just keep pretending. I can't delay my business. I can't make it out in minutes, I don't have time to chat with you here. Then he took out the car key and let his Mercedes-Benz make a few calls. She gave Lu Yao a seductive glance and threw a business card over. Sister, please add me on WeChat when you have time. When you're free, I'll treat you to a big meal. Dee. The Mercedes-Benz drove away, leaving only a cloud of exhaust, like Wang Lang's breath, which was both oily and choking. Lu Yao didn't even pick up the business card on the ground, instead he took out his own business card and handed it to Zhou Xun. "Brother Sun, please add me on WeChat later. I have booked a restaurant tonight and will send you a seat. You must come, this 100,000 yuan means a lot to me. With this 100,000 yuan and some of my savings, I can make a down payment for the house and get married to Zhang Fan. At that time, we will definitely invite you to be the witness." When Lu Yao said these things, her face was filled with happiness and her eyes were filled with longing. Zhou Xun couldn't bear to poke through her beautiful dream. The phone call just now was from Lu Qian. It said that a classmate had a birthday at night and stayed at her house, so she didn't come back. Zhou Xun just heard the voice of Zhang Fan on the phone. That's right, it must be him. That voice, like a father.In.Law, Zhou Xun will never forget in his lifetime. Okay, I'll definitely go over tonight. Zhou Xun never revealed the truth. After watching Lu Yao leave, Zhou Xun turned around and continued to wait. He saw Lu Jianghai walking towards the door with the help of a girl. Immediately greeted with a smile on his face. After talking for a while, Zhou Xun and Lu Mengru, the second daughter of Lu Jianghai, walked towards the parking lot. Then the two of them drove out of the residential area and turned without a trace. Wang Lang is preparing to go to a bank to withdraw some cash, and then go to Shuiyun to have a deep discussion with technician number 8. These days, his wife Lu Menglin is pregnant, and he is feeling uncomfortable holding it back. I finally came up with a lie today, so I must have fun. But as soon as he got off the car, he saw two familiar figures. One is Zhou Xun, and the other is his sister.In.Law Lu Mengru. Hiss, how did the two of them come together? Sleeping trough, good for you Zhou Xun. You've tricked people and come to my house. Wang Lang suddenly realized that emotional Zhou Xun was packaging himself in such a way that he wanted to cheat money from his own family. I'm the only one who can pit the Lu family, not even an extra one. In Wang Lang's view, after he married Lu Menglin, the entire assets of the Lu family had already changed their surname to Wang. Of course, this also includes his beautiful aunt Lu Mengru. Lu Jianghai originally didn't like this son.In.Law, but he couldn't resist his daughter's pressure and agreed to this marriage. However, after Wang Lang and Lu Menglin got married, they lived a life of lying flat and lying down. In Lu Jianghai's business, Wang Lang is not allowed to interfere at all, and instead, he always keeps Lu Mengru by his side. Seems like giving all the family business to the youngest daughter. Wang Lang smoked a cigarette outside and estimated that the time was almost right before rushing into the bank. Bank VIP reception room. Zhou Xun and Lu Mengru finally agreed on a transfer price of 2 million yuan for the amusement park. Zhou Xun handed the card to the staff to transfer money. Just as he was about to bend over and sign the agreement, he reached out a big hand from the side. Teared up the agreement and held it in my hand. The two of them looked aside and were not only taken aback when they saw Wang Lang. Wang Lang quickly glanced at the agreement, chuckled softly, and pointed at Zhou Xun's nose, cursing. I treat you as a relative, why do you treat me as a scapegoat? Mengru, this guy is just a poor bee, and even if he empties his pocket, he may not necessarily have a master of 3 steel coins. If he can come up with 2 million, I'll eat 200 pounds in defense. Sir, please go out and don't disturb our clients. The bank manager walked over and asked Wang Lang to leave. But Wang Lang has already recognized that Zhou Xun is going to commit fraud. Although he doesn't know what the trick is, one thing he can be certain of is that Zhou Xun is definitely a poor bee. No, it has to be. His heart did not allow Zhou Xun to suddenly become wealthy. As the saying goes, I am afraid that my friend will suffer, and I am also afraid that my friend will lead a wrong path. I can get rich, but you can't. The bank manager saw that Wang Lang remained unmoved, with both hands working hard and even tearing up the agreement. Suddenly angry, as soon as the security guard was called out, a man with big arms and a round waist rushed in. Without hesitation, he rushed over to Zhou Xun, who was startled to death. "Wrong, wrong, it's him. Hold him down." Thanks to the bank manager's quick stop, the security guard turned the target upside down, and pushed Wang Lang to the ground. A piece of equipment has been exposed. The phone rolled to Lu Mengru's feet, and the screen lit up just in time. The message from 10086 is displayed above. "Brother Wang, I can go outside today. Wait for you, Mu." Chapter 5. Meat delivered to the mouth must be eaten. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Lu Mengru's eyes were sharp and her hands were quick. With a click, she captured the information on Wang Lang's phone. She also hates her brother.in.law very much. "I don't know what's wrong with my sister's eyes, why did she fall in love with such a man? To be fair, she thinks Zhou Xun is a bit more handsome than Wang Lang. Mengru, you have to trust me. I'm your brother.in.law, I won't lie to you. Zhou Xun must be playing a game, although I don't know what the trick is, I'm sure he doesn't have that much money." Wang Lang lay on the ground and shouted at Lu Mengru. But no one listens to him at all, just pretend he's farting. If Zhou Xun was up to something, how could Lu Mengru not know? That 2 million has actually been transferred to the company account. I don't know what Wang Lang is thinking, it feels like his brain is lacking a muscle. Even if someone wants to cheat, will they come to the bank to cheat? Alright, stop howling. Think about how to explain to my sister what's going on. Wang Lang, you're playing very discreetly. 10086 can all be called, brother, TSK. Lu Mengru threw her phone in front of Wang Lang, her tone extremely sarcastic. Afterwards, he left the bank with Zhou Xun without any further attention. Sitting in Lu Mengru's car, the two of them drove towards the amusement park together. On the way, Lu Mengru still couldn't suppress her curiosity and asked a question. "You were originally just an ordinary employee in the company. I didn't expect to turn over and become the boss overnight. I just don't know, why are you buying that amusement park? That makes me feel that feng shui is not good. I'll compensate for whatever I do." Zhou Xun chuckled and didn't expect that Lu Mengru was still a straightforward girl with a slightly superstitious appearance. "I actually feel like it's a feng shui treasure trove. I'm planning to buy some land to grow and dig a pit to raise fish, maybe I can raise a pile of gold." Lu Mengru slowed down her speed and turned her head to give Zhou Xun a charming smile. "I can't tell, you're quite humorous. I have a good idea, I'm not sure if you want to collaborate. I used to want to change the fairy tale style of that amusement park to a military style, but my dad stopped me. Our Beibin city is located on the border of Longhua, adjacent to peninsula and island countries to the east, and not far from Baoxiong to the north. This is a strategic location, with many troops stationed here. Everyone is willing to take action and adopt a military style. It will definitely be very popular." Zhou Xun nodded, not to mention that Lu Mengru's thoughts were in line with his. Lu Mengru was pleasantly surprised when she saw this, her eyes laughing like crescent moon. She applied the brake and parked the car on the roadside. "I'll just say it, it definitely has a selling point. Let's work together, you pay and I contribute, and then we make a profit with a 50-50th split." Watching Lu Mengru reach out with her tender little hand, Zhou Xun couldn't help but grip it. This is clearly a trap. Lu Mengru went out to renovate the amusement park, and she not only had to pay her the engineering fee. After the construction is completed, if you make a profit, you still have to share it with her. This little girl's wishful thinking is as loud as kicking her feet. I don't know how a shrewd person like her was mistreated like that by Wang Lang. In the previous life, Lu Jianghai died shortly after the end of the world. In the vast villa, only Wang Lang, Lu Menglin, who is over 8 months pregnant, and Lu Mengru remain. At first, the 3.5 of them lived very comfortably. After all, this is a wealthy area, and in such a large villa, there will be some food stored to some extent. But as time went on, they often heard women scolding and crying in their villa. Not long after, Lu Menglin and Lu Mengru were sold by Wang Lang and exchanged for 4 packs of instant noodles. That day, Zhou Xun was nestled in a small house at the security booth and saw with his own eyes that Lu Mengru and Lu Menglin were covered in scars and various kinds of filth. The 2 people were like walking corpses, being led away by a sleazy fat man with a rope around his neck. At that time, Lu Menglin had an empty stomach and the child went somewhere. Thinking about it now, I am extremely scared. Hey, don't be in a daze, your saliva is flowing out. Lu Mengru angrily lightly slapped Zhou Xun, which finally pulled him back from his memories. Just now, Zhou Xun was too engrossed in his recollection, staring intently at Lu Mengru. It made Lu Mengru feel shy to see her. Oh, sorry, I was lost in thought just now. You keep talking, I'm listening. Lu Mengru chuckled with a purr. I've already finished speaking, what else are you saying? By the way, could you please let go of your hand first? It hurts to be held by you. Zhou Xun quickly lowered his head to look, and Lu Mengru's little hand was still in his own palm, squeezing the other person white. By the way, do you answer or not? If you agree, then we can work together for a while. The first sentence is about acting coquettish, and the last sentence is a blatant suggestion. Lu Mengru, this little rascal, seems to have great ambitions for her business. In order to win over Zhou Xun, the unjust leader, all the beauty tricks were used. Humph, you're just playing with fire. Zhou Xun doesn't care about these things now. He will be reborn once and let go of the time to live through this month. Go for the fine virtues of Tmo, go for the rules and order of Tma. He must eat the meat that reaches his mouth. No matter how much revenge he has, he must seek revenge. Otherwise, after the end of the world comes, there will be no chance. Of course, the guys who treated him as food in the previous life, Zhou Xun took care of him like a treasure. At least nothing can happen to them before the end of the world falls. If one is not careful, it will crack now, and Zhou Xun will cry to death. It's possible, but you have to agree to one condition. At night, cooperate with me to perform the previous scene. By the way, let me tell my family that I won't go back tonight. If you want to go back, then you can go home now. I can find someone else to do it at the amusement park. By the way, I forgot to tell you that I still have 2 villas that need to be renovated, and it's expected to cost a lot. Lu Mengru didn't expect Zhou Xun to be so direct. I didn't expect that he just looked silly on the surface, but actually understood everything. It's impossible for her to sacrifice herself for an amusement park and 2 villas. Although there are some problems with the fun chain of Lu Group now, she is still a big lady no matter what. But when I think about my father's sick body and my sister's love brain, the heavy burden of the Lu family should be carried on her shoulders. Moreover, the loan of 30 million yuan owed by the Lu family to the Zhang family is about to expire. If she doesn't get married yet, she will marry that silly son from the Zhang family. She had to refuse Zhou Xun, but she didn't want to miss Zhou Xun's money for nothing. With a blink of an eye, the idea came to mind. Okay, if you don't go back, you won't go back. But I want 40 million, you must give it to me now. If you can't come up with it, then you can talk to me about cooperation. Well, don't think about having something. Lu Mengru's move made the lion speak up, hoping that Zhou Xun would face the difficulties and retreat, and that the topic would return to cooperation. I really don't like the word for. I'll give you 60 million, tonight you're mine. First, come with me and buy some clothes. After finishing, I'll take you to dinner. By the way, I met my sister and it's considered a kiss. Ah. Lu Mengru was stunned. She now has a bit of faith in what Wang Lang said. This week, Sun is probably a scammer. It's not a scam, that brain is also flawed. She quickly took out her phone, searched, and finally flipped through the recent lottery news, dispelling her doubts a bit. Turns out he won 250 million yuan, no wonder he's so wealthy. Chapter 6. Remedying Regrets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 250 million. If you give me everything, I believe I can make the Lu Group rise again. Do you agree or not? Oh, it's so annoying. He looks quite handsome, much better than marrying that fool from the Zhang family. Lu Mengru thought so. She was all focused on how to carry the Lu family and earn more money. As for other things, she doesn't care at all. When she first graduated from college, she had already made a decision. If you don't plan to get married in this life and have children, you will have to go to your father to have children and cultivate them on your own. As for who the child's father is, she only has one standard, which is to be handsome enough. Alternatively, it could be considered to provide the money that would prevent her from striving for the rest of her life. As for Zhou Xun, it seems that she only meets half of these two criteria. He is not extremely handsome, nor is he extremely wealthy. It really gives her a headache. Forget it, why don't we just do this? Alas, ideals are beautiful, but reality is always cruel. A woman's life is a tragedy. Lu Mengru forcefully brainwashed herself and convinced herself. At the same time, I took out my phone and calculated my ovulation period, striving to enter my soul with one shot and not have a second one. After all, according to my sister, the first time a woman was very, very painful, and the second time was also a bit painful. She has been afraid of pain since she was young, but she can't withstand the turmoil. Zhou Xun saw Lu Mengru lost in thought, his little hands pinching and occasionally frowning. Compared to facing the phone, I don't know what I'm calculating, it looks very cute. The reason why Zhou Xun did this pure is to satisfy one's previous regrets. After all, a poor boy who just joined the company was personally fed by the beautiful daughter of the boss with the food he had prepared. Who can bear this? Just as Zhou Xun was full of blood, he immediately fell in love with Lu Mengru. But there was a huge difference in their social status, and Zhou Xun could only bury his love in his heart. Often secretly feeling hurt, borrowing wine to alleviate worries, until being caught by Yi Ming and losing a lot, they finally woke up. Perhaps Lu Mengru had already forgotten about that, but Zhou Xun remembered it in his heart. In the previous life, Zhou Xun witnessed Lu Mengru being tortured like that and then sold by Wang Lang. But at that time, he chose to remain silent and admit his guilt. After all, not long ago, Zhou Xuangang just received some biscuits from Lu Mengru, so as not to starve to death. If I had been furious at the time and fought fiercely with Wang Lang, perhaps I wouldn't have died so miserably later on. This matter has always been a knot in Zhou Xun's heart, apart from revenge. In this life, he must take good care of Lu Mengru and never let her be bullied again. If you're not willing, then I won't force you. I'll still give you the money. I am willing. The two of them finished speaking almost simultaneously and looked at each other in confusion. Everyone feels like the atmosphere is a bit awkward now. It seems like it's the same way Wang Lang and 10,086 played. It's just that the GDP is a bit high. After all, Wang Lang's set is at most 1,500, while they are 60 million. Let's go to this place. They should be waiting. Zhou Xun sent the address to Lu Mengru. At the same time, he also sent the address to Lu Yao, asking her to go to this place for dinner. Lu Yao immediately called and apologized. Brother Sun, my boyfriend has just started working and has been quite busy lately. He has to work overtime, so he won't be able to come tonight. Why don't we reschedule? Also, I have to treat you to this meal. The restaurant you have chosen is really too expensive. Lu Yao actually really likes this restaurant and has been wanting to go, but she doesn't have the money and is not willing to go. At that time, Zhang Fan promised to take her to eat as soon as he got ashore. But now he has been working for 2 months, but this matter has never been fulfilled. Lu Yao knew that he had just started working and would definitely have various difficulties adapting, so she took more care of his emotions and daily life. Zhang Fan in their rental house is nothing but an emperor who stretches out his clothes and opens his mouth for food. The catchphrase has also changed from the previous one, "I will definitely pass the exam." It has become, "I am now a secure rice bowl." Although he only receives 3,000 yuan per month, it does not prevent him from disdaining Lu Yao's sales work of nearly 10,000 yuan per month. Give Lu Yao to Pua to die. These days, Zhang Fan often stays up at night. Lu Yao is not allowed to ask him exactly what he went to. After asking too many questions, Zhang Fan became impatient and spoke various malicious words. What kind of house sales are all achieved through physical transactions? Inside and outside, running on Lu Yao is just a bitch who tries every bit of red lips for money. Lu Yao just thought he was under a lot of work pressure, so he was more attentive to him. Not only did Zhang Fan not receive good treatment, but he also became even worse. One day after returning, he looked very anxious and pulled Lu Yao onto the bed. He tightly grabbed her neck and almost knocked out Lu Yao after completing a task. After finishing, like an old man, he lay on the sofa and instructed Lu Yao to wipe his body and wash the sheets. I don't care at all that Aunt Lu Yao didn't even leave clean that day. But Zhou Xun knew all these things. After all, in the previous life, Lu Yao died in his arms and was personally buried by him. Later, Lu Yao's body disappeared without a trace. One day, Zhou Xun found a headband that Lu Yao had been wearing in their room. This dog man and woman are currently eating at this restaurant. If Lu Yao doesn't go, Zhou Xun's grand performance will lack an excellent audience. Lu Yao, are you afraid that your boyfriend will be unhappy when he finds out? It's okay, my girlfriend will also go with me. We're just having a meal, after all, I'm still your brother. I haven't entertained you for such a long time. If Lu Qian finds out, she won't scold me. You must come, otherwise you won't give me face. Zhou Xun had already finished speaking, and Lu Yao had no choice but to agree. But I may feel a little embarrassed, so I followed up with a few pleasantries. Brother Sun, I remembered Cixi saying, you don't have a girlfriend. Why did you have it so quickly? I was originally thinking of introducing you to a colleague. You're so wealthy, I think your girlfriend must be very beautiful. I'm really worried too much. So what Lu Qian said is true. She often tells us that her mother remarried a billionaire. We thought she was bragging, but we didn't expect it to be true. Don't be too narrow-minded with us. We are all from the countryside and have limited knowledge. Upon hearing this, Zhou Xun seemed to have discovered a new continent. He has no idea about Lu Qian boasting outside. I only know that she spends a lot of money every month and has a lot of luxury items on her body. But I kept telling Zhou Xun that they were all A.grade or borrowed from classmates. It's okay, everything is okay. Zhou Xun was still puzzled before, how could Zhang Fan collude with Lu Qian? According to his character of becoming a fairy after landing on the shore, if he doesn't like Lu Yao, how could he like Lu Qian who is even worse than Lu Yao? Turns out all of this was blown out by Lu Qian. Packaging oneself as a white rich and beautiful immediately attracted Zhang Fan, who had the delusion of becoming a golden phoenix. And Lu Qian is very satisfied with Zhang Fan's iron rice bowl status. The two of them hit it off at once, each taking their own needs. It turns out that my good sister is not a fuel-efficient lamp either. Only in the previous life's view, it was this fan who had superior skills and held Lu Qian tightly. The car sped all the way to its destination. Beibin West Coast Restaurant. It is a high-end seafood buffet restaurant with an average of around 3,000 yuan per person, and the drinks are included separately. Zhou Xun bought 3 people and stood at the door waiting for Lu Yao's arrival. At the same time, he was also observing the figures of Zhang Fan and Lu Qian everywhere. As expected, the two were sitting on the second floor near the stairs. Zhou Xun saw this dog man and woman at a glance. At this moment, Zhang Fan was holding a piece of salmon naked and feeding it to Lu Qian's mouth. Lu Qian, on the other hand, was very mischievous and refused to pick up the fish. Instead, she opened her small mouth and bit Zhang Fan's hand. The two of them were flirting, like a loving little couple. Chapter 7. Is being reasonable. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In no time, Lu Yao Shanshan arrived. She changed into the uniform of the sales office and put on a black long-down jacket, wearing a black bare leg artifact underneath. The coiled long hair was also put down. At first glance, it looks completely different from before. Zhou Xun vaguely felt a hint of a young woman between her eyebrows. Perhaps it is due to her submissive and understanding personality, as well as a hint of maternal radiance. As soon as she stood still, many male comrades immediately cast their gaze. Indeed, men understand men better. The gaze cast on Lu Mengru was all fiery and naked, as if playing poker in her dream. The gaze cast on Lu Yao shone with the wisdom of the Chow thief. This is my sister.In.law, right? Sister-in-law, you are so beautiful. You are a perfect match for Brother Sun. Lu Yao is not inferior in sales, her mouth is eloquent. It is not common for a woman to dislike being praised for her beauty, especially from the same sex. Although Lu Mengru knew that Lu Yao meant flattery, she was still very happy. Her eyes laughed like crescent moon again, and she affectionately carried Lu Yao's arm. The two women began to chatter and praise each other. Zhou Xun shook his head and walked first to the food area, picking up a plate to choose his favorite food. Lobster, abalone, oyster sashimi, all loaded into the plate. Built high and swaying, like an unstoppable person. Sitting in his seat, Zhou Xun began to bury his head in eating like a starving ghost reincarnated. In those days of the apocalypse, Zhou Xun was starving. I dreamt that I had eaten a whole night of seafood. The next day, I woke up and found that I had mistakenly used the cotton in the blanket as lobster meat, but he had emptied a large piece. Afterwards, Zhou Xun suffered from constipation. But in those days, even if you get an ordinary cold, you will die, but getting constipation is what everyone yearns for. Just because you can't pull it out after eating it, at least your stomach feels bloated, which can offset some of the feeling of hunger. So some people always sprinkle some ground wood chips and cotton wool when eating compressed biscuits. As the saying goes, this is the juice of the soul. Pop. Zhou Xun slapped himself hard. What a special thing, while we're eating, why are we just daydreaming about those dirty things? This slap slapped Zhou Xun's face, but it confused Lu Mengru and Lu Yao. The two women leaned their heads together and whispered, unsure of what they were discussing. Zhou Xun knew he had just made a fool of himself, but he couldn't resist the temptation of delicious food, so he continued to flaunt himself one mouthful after another. In no time, the sharp plate finished eating. Zhou Xun hiccuped and started the second round of sweeping while holding the plate. Today, this is almost 10,000 yuan, and Zhou Xun feels that he can at least get back half of it. Oh my God, how can I eat like this? Is it a pig? If my son were like him in the future, would he eat me into bankruptcy? Lu Mengru trembled and dared not think much. She ordered a bottle of red wine and prepared to drink some to relax her mood. After all, tonight is her first time, it's impossible to say she's not nervous. Think about it, she's still a bit shy. But now it's already 2080, and people's minds have become even more open-minded. It's not like in the 1920s, having a meal or watching a movie is enough to get a house, it's really too complicated. Zhou Xun kept flaunting several large plates, feeling that the food had already reached the tip of his throat. Pick up the red wine in front of Lu Mengru, blow a few big mouthfuls into the bottle, and slip through the crack. I patted my swollen belly and was very satisfied. Hiccup. After a long hiccup, Zhou Xun got up and walked to the bathroom, holding a piece of ice in his hand. After eating and drinking enough, it's time to get down to business. Zhou Xun took out his ice skate and quickly carved it into the ice block. In no time, a large, smooth ice hockey ball the size of an egg was thrown out by him. When Zhou Xun was carving, he always imagined it as a black pearl in his mind. After carving, the large ice hockey ball displayed a physical countdown of 5 minutes. Zhou Xun let go of the water, procrastinated for a while, and only had the last minute left before he returned to the dining table holding the ice hockey. I casually found a larger scallop and stuffed the ice hockey ball inside. It's just that this thing is too big, that scallop can't even close the lid. But it doesn't matter, existence is reasonable. After seeing Zhou Xun return with another plate of scallops, the two women opened their mouths. Brother Xun, you can't eat anymore. Eating too much will cause gout, Lu Yao said with concern. Stop eating so much, that thing tastes very fishy. Lu Mengru didn't know what she was thinking and blurted it out. Lu Yao understood instantly and blushed with her. You know, I'm a bit at a loss for this 60 million yuan. Zhou Xun's heart was in pain. It turns out that Lu Mengru has already been developed so thoroughly. Special, don't let him know who it is, otherwise Zhou Xun will go and perform a brother separation surgery for him now, with the main effect of inhibiting beard growth. Forget it, who hasn't passed yet. I don't care at all. Come on, let's eat together. You won, me won. Zhou Xun separated the scallops on the plate one by one and specially gave the one containing black pearls to Lu Yao. Ah! What is this? Which child stuffed the yo-yo inside? Lu Yao spread out the scallops, and a black pearl the size of an egg was rolling inside. The light shines on it, reflecting a sparkling white light that is very dazzling. Lu Mengru is truly discerning. She can tell at a glance that this is definitely a pearl. But pearls grow inside scallops, is this reasonable? Even if it's a pearl, is it reasonable to have one like this? Black pearl. Black pearl, it must be black pearl. Wachow, Lu Yao, you've made a fortune. This one is worth at least a few 100 million yuan. Zhou Xun stood up hastily and exclaimed loudly, afraid that he might not attract the attention of others. As expected, in no time, a group of people ran over to watch. Just don't believe it at all, this will be true. Rural bumpkin, there won't be any pearls inside scallops. They're so big, it's really funny. This is a yo-yo, if it's a black pearl, I'll stuff it in from the back. Are you three trying to cheat money by playing tricks, falsely claiming it's a black pearl, and then deceiving people into buying it? Get out of here now, or else I'll call the police. Haha, what era is this? Why are there illiterates? I don't even know this common sense. Don't think about deceiving others, just open your stomach and eat hard. Otherwise, if you spend 10,000 yuan, you won't be able to cheat a penny, and you won't cry to death. TSK, these two girls are really good looking. Why don't you go live streaming? Just brush the edges a bit, there must be several girls who can't make it all night. There are those who are not knowledgeable about goods, and naturally there are also those who are knowledgeable. Immediately, an elderly man with gray hair reached out his hand and said to Lu Yao. Miss, can I take a look at it? My name is Zhou 12 Fu, and my ancestors have been in the jewelry industry. Lu Yao nodded and handed the black pearl to the old man. The name of Zhou 12 Blessings is quite well known, starting from the 6 blessings and continuing until the 12 blessings, which has been an old brand for hundreds of years. Oh my, oh my. The old man excitedly fiddled in place. Zhou Xun dug out his ear, but he didn't hear anyone playing music. Really, this is really true. Rare, truly rare. Precious, priceless. This is actually true. Everyone never expected that the slap would come so quickly and so fiercely. The guy who just made bold remarks was pushed out by everyone. He must perform a masterpiece of black pearl versus black naoka. Chapter 8. No need to thank you, we call it Reader Brothers. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Zhang Fan and Lu Qian, who were eating upstairs, also had genes for watching the excitement flowing through their bodies. I have long been lying on the railing, witnessing everything just now. As they looked at each other again, they felt a bit uneasy. Cece, why don't we finish eating here tonight? You also saw that the dead women came here for some reason. I need to go and hide to get there, after all, I haven't broken up with her yet. You must understand my difficulties. I have just started working and have not yet passed my probationary period, so doing so will have a very negative impact. That's an iron rice bowl for me. Zhang Fan put on his clothes, picked up the electric car key, covered his face, and quickly rushed downstairs. Lu Qian sweetly watched him leave without getting up to chase after him. She knew that Zhang Fan had left, so she must have gone home waiting for Lu Yao to go. After all, that bead is priceless. As long as Zhang Fan asks for it, Lu Yao will definitely give it to him. At that time, this black pearl will be hers and Zhang Fan's. There's no way, the Lu family is rich in love brains. The two sisters, for some reason, did not have deep feelings for Zhang Fan. Lu Qian put away her bag and was about to leave. The waiter next to her walked over and handed over a bill. Miss, please settle the bill first. Lu Qian opened WeChat and her balance was only 250 yuan. It was agreed that Zhang Fan would pay for this meal, so Lu Qian didn't even prepare it. I don't have any money, of course I asked my good brother for it. Ding dong. Zhou Xun's WeChat started ringing, and you don't have to guess who sent it. Pretending not to hear, I continued to listen to Zhou 12 Fu's explanation on how to identify this jewelry, completely intoxicated. The old man finally showcased his professional knowledge. Pull Lu Yao aside and ask softly. Little girl, are you selling this bead or not? If you want to sell it, I'm willing to pay 10 million to buy it. 1. 10 million. Lu Yao was so shocked that she couldn't speak for a moment. Quickly gripping the beads tightly, he ran to Zhou Xun's side and handed them to him. Brother Sun, it's the scallop you brought, so this bead should be yours. Just now, the old man said he wants to buy it for 10 million yuan. Go find him and sell it quickly. However, if you could give me a small commission, I would be very happy. Zhou Xun watched as the big ice hockey ball returned to his hand. Ah, no, it's black pearl. Very shocked. Nowadays, there are not many people with such ideological consciousness. Zhou Xun strongly supports that Lu Yao should take over the position of the High Universe. Yao Mayor, this should be yours, it's yours. This pearl is so spicy that no one noticed it. Instead, you dug it out. It has a connection with you. Besides, brother, I'm not short of money. It's just my big string of numbers with one less than 10 million. Put it away, if you don't take it, then you won't give me face. Lu Yao nodded and happily put the black pearl into her pocket. She is ready to show it to Zhang Fan, and if it sells out, the two of them can live a more prosperous life. The phone in Zhou Xun's pocket vibrated. With a slanted glance up, She was anxiously stomping her feet, staring straight at herself. Humph, just not answering, I'm so angry with you. Zhou Xun made an excuse that he had eaten too much just now and had to go to the restroom, so he left his seat. Transferred to the restaurant bar, before speaking, I scanned the code and paid 50,000 yuan. Could you please help me retrieve the surveillance footage of the table on the second floor facing the stairs? Then send it to my WeChat account and settle their account, saying it's a lucky customer who is free of charge. Don't tell me you don't have permission to search. If it's not enough, I'll scan 50,000 more. That's enough, sir. Just a moment, I'll get it done for you right away. The bartender girl's hands were fast. In no time, Zhou Xun received a surveillance video of Zhang Fan and Lu Qian feeding each other on his phone. Of course, there is also a warm invitation from the bar girl behind. Zhou Xun had to wait for her to finish work and go to the bar to sit down, and even said that she was not good at drinking and could drink ice. Such a warm invitation, unfortunately Zhou Xun cannot agree. After all, there are already arrangements for tonight. Let's reschedule. I'll definitely watch the sunrise with you on another day. The young girl at the bar looked lonely when she saw Zhou Xun's reply, and she seemed to have lost interest in playing high-pitched music. Zhou Xun returned to the dining table, and the two women were still admiring the black pearl. Lu Mengru, that little financial fanatic, had a jealous expression on her face, and a hint of sparkling saliva seemed to flow from the corners of her mouth. Zhou Xun patted Lu Yao's shoulder and asked her to come with him. He doesn't want to keep it from Lu Yao anymore and is preparing to have a showdown with her. Yao Mayor, you and Zhang Fan should break up as soon as possible. That guy is not a good person, he's hooked up with Lu Qian. Lu Yao's eyes instantly turned red, but her first reaction was still disbelief. Sun, please stop making trouble. Lu Qian and Zhang Fan haven't seen each other many times before. How could they be together? Are you joking, right? Sai, you can watch it yourself. Zhou Xun knew that talking too much was useless and sent her the video. Lu Yao opened the video and Zhou Xun noticed that her phone was still the super ancient Apple 15 Pro Max Blue Titanium version. Nowadays, Apple has already released 77 Ultra, Pro, Max, Plus. And this phone is the pinnacle of design, with cameras on the back and no blind spots in all directions, allowing islanders to secretly capture the thrill. Claiming to be the Boeing 77 in mobile phones, oh yeah. Pop, pop. Zhou Xun saw for the first time that someone's tears were really like small pearls. Even if it hits the ground, it can make a sound. Sadness is so extreme that there is really no sound. Lu Yao repeatedly played the video in a loop, trying to search inside, and the two were just evidence of ordinary friends. But this is not about fishing for a needle in the sea. Who's an ordinary friend feeding each other food mouth to mouth? Moreover, this is still the place that Lu Yao has always wanted to come to, but Zhang Fan repeatedly evaded it. It depends on the situation, the two of them are not the first to come. Woo-woo. Lu Yao finally burst into tears, crouching on the ground holding her knees like a helpless child. This girl is really miserable. The man she raised was abducted by her sister, and after the end of the world, she was oppressed and killed by both of them, and her body was not saved. However, she is kind-hearted and has always had her own bottom line. The main reason why Zhou Xun did this was to repay the kindness of giving Zhou Xun a biscuit in her previous life. If there is revenge, then there must be gratitude. This is also Zhou Xun's bottom line. Yao Meyer, remember, you just lost a scumbag who doesn't love you. But what he lost was a woman who loved him deeply, or a woman who was about to become a millionaire. You should be happy. Don't cry, look at this restaurant. There are so many spicy and handsome guys eagerly looking at you. As long as you speak up, I promise there will be someone who doesn't want to work hard to be your licking dog immediately. Zhou Xun's comforting words were simply amazing. But it was very effective, making Lu Yao laugh, and her nose was bubbling up. Just as she was at a loss, 4 or 5 handsome and young men rushed out immediately. It's like a combination, holding a tissue in their hand, trying to wipe Lu Yao's nose. Sister, I am willing to be your loyal servant and serve you for a lifetime. Sister, my father and mother remarried, and I am the only one in the whole family. Regardless of whether we have boys or girls, they all have your surname. I can change it. Sister, if you're afraid of pain, even if you don't want to have children, I can go get a sterilization. Sister. Finally, Lu Yao stood up with a smile on her face, her eyes shining brightly, and the radiance that attracted the Chow thief became even brighter. He, thank you guys. What's the name of your group? Sister will definitely fan you. You're welcome, we're called Reader's Brothers. Chapter 9. Warming Artifact, Fire Dragon Scales. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Zhou Xun has proven through practice that eating too much seafood can lead to diarrhea. Throughout the night, Zhou Xun basically squatted on the toilet. He felt like his brain was about to be poked out. Lu Mengru was already prepared. Covering himself with a blanket, he stripped naked and lay dead on the bed. After finishing her task, Zhou Xun happily threw herself onto the bed before even lifting her blanket. Immediately, he covered his stomach and headed straight to the toilet. Going back and forth, I tossed and turned around more than 10 times. Once, Zhou Xun had already placed her long legs on her shoulders. Both sides are about to engage in a firefight. But Zhou Xun was attacked on his back, almost losing his bed sheets. He rolled out of bed in a disheveled state and rushed to the restroom. Later on, Lu Mengru had already mechanized. When I saw Zhou Xun come back, I lifted the blanket, raised my legs, and whispered cheers to Zhou Xun to hold on. Just give it a shot, it's like getting an injection, and it's done with a whoosh. Zhou Xun felt completely ashamed, as if he had become a well-behaved woman being teased. Just a whoosh and it's done. Zhou Xun suspected that the man who developed Lu Mengru was not a 3-second man. This actually made Zhou Xun even more angry. What a special thing, if you can't play with legitimate ones, then go on a strange path. You're really not a man. Stop playing, go to sleep. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have made it that way. Zhou Xun reluctantly touched Lu Mengru, got into bed, and fell asleep. The next morning, he woke up slowly, and Lu Mengru's figure had already disappeared beside him. She is a workaholic. After finalizing the plan for the renovation of the amusement park with Zhou Xun last night, she immediately took action. But Zhou Xun asked her to replace all the building materials with ice. Even the walls must be made entirely of ice, and must have a thickness of at least 3 meters and a height of 10 meters. Zhou Xun wants to turn that place into a military fortress. But we also need to divide some living areas, breeding areas, planting areas, and so on within those 20 acres of land. Although building with ice is faster, at most one framework can be completed within a month. This is the result estimated by Lu Mengru, and Zhou Xun still believes it. But that's enough, as long as there is a framework, Zhou Xun's system can be effective. Slowly materialize all the ice sculptures, although it should take a long time, Zhou Xun can completely afford to wait. The top priority now is the explosive renovation of the 2 newly purchased villas. Zhou Xun plans to turn them into simple safe houses for use as transitional areas in the early stages. At the same time, here, complete the revenge against the guys in the happy community. It takes money to make all of these, plus the promised 60 million yuan to Lu Mengru and the explosive renovation of 2 villas. All of them add up to at least 1 billion. Zhou Xun only has around 5 million left in his hands now. We still need to get some more money. In Zhou Xun's eyes, money is just ice cubes. After leaving the hotel, there is a small river, and now the highest daytime temperature in Beibin City is around -10 degrees Celsius. The water in this small river has long been frozen hard. There are several fishermen on the river, using tools such as chainsaws and pickaxes to smash ice holes and fish. Large chunks of ice were piled aside. Zhou Xun picked up a piece of ice, the ice knife flew around, and the ice shards fell off one after another. Soon, a lifelike ice dragon appeared in his hand. Until Zhou Xun assumed in his heart that it was a whole piece of red agate and lit its eyes, a physical countdown appeared on the ice dragon, which took about an hour. Meanwhile, a voice rang out in my mind. Congratulations to the host for collecting achievements. Adding the finishing touch, achievement rewards have been distributed, please check. Line trough. The sudden reward stunned Zhou Xun. He originally thought that his system only had the function of materialized project. Unexpectedly, there are also hidden Easter eggs. When opening the system again, an item list appears below. There are 10 spaces, indicating that 10 items can be stored. The first grid contains a fiery red scale. Fire Dragon Anti-Scale. It can absorb heat, store it inside, and slowly release it, making it the best choice for outdoor exploration. Zhou Xun quickly took out the scales of the fire dragon. About the size of a palm, like a tree leaf, holding it in hand immediately feels warm all over. Even if Zhou Xun took off his clothes and jumped into the water now, he shouldn't feel cold. Good thing, it's just a divine artifact. Zhou Xun held the scales in his hand, ready to set a nose on them, and then put on a rope as a pendant. Carving a dragon can give you such amazing things. If I were to carve a kunkan, would I give it a basketball? Just say it and do it. Zhou Xun picked up another piece of ice and quickly carved it. In no time, a kunpeng soaring 90,000 miles appeared in his hand. Still, he nodded his eyes at the end and was specially carved into the shape of a basketball. There was no system prompt sound coming. Damn it, it seems that my brother really only lives in our hearts. Then wish him immortality. Holding the materialized dragon-shaped red agate and black gemstone kunpeng, Zhou Xun took a taxi and headed straight to the jewelry trading market. It takes about exactly an hour from here to there. During the rush, Zhou Xun took a nap. With a brake sound, we arrived at our destination. Zhou Xun looked at the red agate in his arms and it had already been materialized. After paying for the car, Zhou Xun opened the car door and got off, heading straight to the largest store. The jewelry traders here come from all over the country and share the same characteristic, which is black. But they also have another name, which is money. It is often exposed that someone spent tens of millions to purchase a piece of jadeite raw stone. Some people get rich with one blow, while others suffer with one blow. Zhou Xun was walking briskly when a middle-aged woman with long hair and short stature blocked his path. Hey, little brother, are you here to sell stones or are you here to sell stones? Zhou Xun looked up at the old lady. It wasn't her big brother. He admitted his mistake just now, thinking he was a big mom with such long hair. I want to sell 2 stones. Zhou Xun changed his accent and spoke the same dialect as the big brother. The big brother laughed heartily, his face covered in wrinkles. But there was a bright light in the eyes. I'm looking for the right person. I'm the one who collects stones. We are fellow villagers. When the villagers saw them, tears welled up in their eyes. Walk, go to my place, let's take a look at the stones. Don't worry, as long as the stone is not weak, I will definitely give you a high price. After speaking, he grabbed Zhou Xun's arm and walked towards a store. Entering the store, the big brother took Zhou Xun to a small office. I picked up a suit from the hanger and put it on my body. I'm not good at doing business without wearing a suit. This is a branded product, Benny Road. This is my business card. My name is Huang Bohai. Please take out the stone first and let me take a look. Zhou Xun placed the dragon-shaped red agate and the black gemstone kunpeng on the table. That Huang Bohai has straight eyes. Staring like a pair of bull eyes. Disappointed. Disappointed by this trendy girl. Why are you fooling around with me? I didn't waste my time playing with 2 glass bottles. Zhou Xun pushed 2 things towards the yellow and Bohai again. I didn't speak, I just reached out and made a gesture of invitation. Huang Bohai frowned, glanced at Zhou Xun, and then at the things on the table. Finally, he picked it up, but as soon as he picked it up, he felt something was wrong. 9 out of 10 things are not right. This seems to be true. And it looks and feels like there are no traces of carving. This is so unique that it is naturally formed. I'll drop a kiss. Huang Bohai's hands trembled like chaff, and he reluctantly placed the things gently on the table. Little brother, could you give me a price? To be honest, I only have 50 million yuan in cash here, and I can't eat these 2 things. But if you really want to sell, I can go and raise money now. Zhou Xun nodded. As expected, the people of Dongfeng were real, and this reputation was not built. He extended a finger and shook it. Chapter 10. Explosive Renovation of Super Villas. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Is 100 million true? Brother, these two things are worth at least 500 million or more. Have you encountered any difficulties? Okay, I can raise up to 300 million yuan in cash and give it all to you. If you can return the money to me within 6 months, then these two treasures are still yours. If you don't want to pay it back or can't afford it, then this is mine. Bo-Hai caressed two treasures, unable to put them down, as if looking at two big girls. What a special thing, there are really good people in this world. Zhou Xun doesn't even want to pit this guy anymore. However, for now, it's important to get the money and continue renovating the amusement park and villa. Okay, then we'll do as you say. If you're honest, then I'm also honest. Just a reminder, you should quickly take action on these two things and don't smash your hands. After Zhou Xun finished speaking, Bo-Hai laughed. Those in our industry all understand some rules. Such objects are definitely not something that ordinary people would have. If you don't say it, I know it too. Don't worry, it won't hit me. This is the best way. Zhou Xun has exhausted all his words and will not say more. As soon as the money arrived, Zhou Xun immediately headed straight to a high-end home decoration company in Beibin City. Nowadays, there is no one on Blue Star who can provide any safe house building services. After all, for most people, the end of the world is pure nonsense. However, in the previous life, some wealthy individuals in the happy community lived so well in the early stages. It's all thanks to this home decoration company. The insulation material they use plays a crucial role. And this company can provide users with comprehensive thunder services. As long as you have money, no matter how you decorate, they will execute it and the speed is extremely fast. If it's just a fee, that would be quite expensive. Zhou Xun arrived at the Love Home Company and explained his purpose to the front desk. Immediately, a little sister took Zhou Xun to the lounge. At the same time, a cup of latte coffee and a thick home decoration brochure appeared in front of Zhou Xun. Hello sir, my name is Zhang Yu and I am the home decoration consultant here. May I ask if you need any help? Zhang Yu covered his skirt with both hands, revealing his beautiful curves. He sat next to Zhou Xun, while a fragrance wafted into his nostrils. Zhou Xun took a sip of coffee and said, I have 2 villas that need to be renovated. But my request is a bit excessive. I'm not sure if you can handle it here. Upon hearing these words, Zhang Yu's eyes suddenly lit up. The last sentence from Zhou Xun was overlooked by her. There is no customer who can come here to decorate a house that is not unreasonable. Only by going too far can they charge more and earn more. The previous sentence made her very happy. 2 villas were built at once, and after completing this order, half a year's KPI was enough. Sir, our love for home is a national interlocking system with first-class quality. No matter what kind of requirements you have, we will definitely meet them. And recently, our Love Home has launched a decoration style for the Apocalypse shelter. Would you like to take a look? Zhang Yu is full of confidence and doesn't forget to promote himself. The style of apocalyptic shelters has recently become popular among young people. Just because of the comet hanging in the sky, many people feel drums in their hearts, saying that the end of the world is coming. So, Love Home timely introduced such a decoration style. The renovated house can at least withstand earthquakes of magnitude 10, strong winds of magnitude 8, and severe cold temperatures of over -50 degrees Celsius. Although there may be some exaggerated publicity, the effect is still there, at least reaching around 80%. Zhou Xun raised his eyebrows. He could do whatever he wanted. The decision was made immediately, and this is the apocalyptic shelter. Zhang Yu immediately brought an iPad and handed it to Zhou Xun. Although our company's services are template-based, there are thousands of small items available. You can freely mix and match, or provide suggestions for modification. Each item has a corresponding price tag, and the final billing standard is based on your villa area. Loving home is truly loving home. There is really a feeling of love, and the main focus is on being considerate. Zhou Xun took the tablet handed over by Zhang Yu and carefully screened the items on it. After a quick glance, Zhou Xun waved his hand. Only children make choices, I want all the things above you. In addition, my 2 villas need to be connected underground, and the passage should be at least 10 meters above ground level. Dig me a deep well in the yard, but you need to ensure that even in the freezing temperatures of -70 degrees Celsius, the water pipes won't freeze. That's all for now, but my time is limited and I can only give you a 25-day construction period. I wonder if you can do it. This. Zhang Yu was confused, she had never seen such a customer before. However, it doesn't matter. With the current technology of Lianjia, it can be completely achieved. Sir, are you sure it's a 25-day construction period? In that case, the fee will be very high. At least it needs to be more than 5 times higher than the original price. I think you're a bit too anxious, aren't you? Zhang Yu spoke very tactfully, suspecting that Zhou Xun had delusions and was afraid of the end of the world, which is why she did so. It's my way or the highway, money is not a problem, it doesn't matter how much money you spend, as long as you complete it within the deadline. For every day in advance, I pay an extra 10%. Zhou Xun left his words there, and Zhang Yu had nothing to say, so he could only follow suit. Anyway, it wasn't her spending money, it wasn't her business. Okay, sir, could you please sign the agreement and pay a 10 million deposit first? Our construction team will depart in 1 hour. After signing the agreement, Zhou Xun immediately paid a 10 million deposit and also casually gave Zhang Yu a tip of 10,000 yuan. As for the final payment after completion, Zhou Xun will definitely pay it as well, after all, the money at that time can only be truly called numbers. Leaving the Love Home Company, facing a bank, Zhou Xun transferred another 60 million yuan to Lu Mengru. She was instructed to accelerate the construction of the amusement park. After all, the villa was just a place where Zhou Xun had gone through excessive activities in the early stages, and the amusement park was the foundation of his future career. Everything is proceeding in an orderly manner. Zhou Xun suddenly felt a bit idle, just waiting for the end to come. Damn it, I've been revived once and even become rich. There's only so much time left, can't I enjoy it anymore? I must try everything I haven't tried before, otherwise I won't have a chance in the future. A man is a boy until he dies. Zhou Xun chose a large internet cafe in Beibin City as his first stop for free play. The magnificent bathing center next to it. This is the place where Zhou Xun used to work, but at that time, he was just a little boy serving wine inside. Nowadays, if you revisit your hometown, you may still be able to meet a few old friends. Of course, those poor girls with gambling fathers, sick mothers, and younger brothers going to school are waiting for Zhou Xun to go to poverty alleviation. Zhou Xun still remembers that it was one night. After delivering drinks to a room, he was harassed by guests who insisted that he blow a bottle before letting him go. There was a girl named Xiaofeng who, seeing that Zhou Xun was still young, generously helped him block it. I haven't seen her for several years, and I don't know if Xiaofeng is still around.